Morning, Trainiacs. Just loosening up for a run, and not just any run. I'm going to do a 5K time trial run. What's been going on over the last year is the business motive has been taken off. We have a team of developers that ranges from anywhere from as little as 4 developers working on it to as high as 12 at any one point in time. We've got a team of about 4 editorial writers creating blog post content on mymotive.com. And TK is just hustling away. We got this kettlebell program. We're incorporating yoga into the program. There's a lot going on. And I'm enjoying it. I am enjoying the idea of contributing to the endurance sport community by helping other people reach podiums as opposed to what it's been for the last 4 or 5 years, me trying to get on podiums. There's like tens of thousands of you, and there's just one me. So that means that I frankly don't have a ton of time to train like I used to. And it's got me thinking about what are some of the things that I can do to almost like hack endurance training. How can we get more out of the hours that we're putting in by just changing how we're doing it? And one of the things that I've been a really big proponent of is hill running. So we're gonna find out how big a component hill running can be. What I'm gonna do is I am going to do this 5K time trial here today. Then over the next 4 weeks, I am going to continue the run training that I've been doing. I've been doing one kind of punchy interval workout on Wednesday and then a longer run on Sunday. It's kind of like a maintenance program, but the only thing that I'm going to change is I'm going to do all of those workouts on hills. Then we're going to do a 5K time trial after, and through the magic of video editing, you'll experience it here in, 15 minutes, and we'll see how much improvement I ended up going through that maintenance program, but doing it on hills. I'm breaking out the big guns here today. These are part of a stash of 3 pairs of Nike Vaporfly 4% that I bought last year, and then no races happened, so they're like brand spanking. So, all right, the work is done. 4 weeks of hill running, and my stabilizer muscles are tired. Okay, so let me explain to you what I did. I did not want to do a 5K plan that just happened to be on hills, and then of course I would get faster over 5K. I just wanted to do that one intense run midweek without really a whole lot of structure, a real specific 5K pace kind of training, and the one hill run on the weekend that was the long run. And between those two, all I'm really changing between these past 4 weeks and what I was doing before was I was just doing the work on hills as opposed to on flat ground. So I'll walk you through what I did. So this was the first hill workout, and what I ended up doing was it was an 8.83 kilometer, 53-minute run, and what I did was 10 times 1 minute up the hill, and I think it was 3 minutes jogging my way down. Later that week, went and did a long run of 16.5K, 5:44 per kilometer pace, so just a long, easy run. The next week, what I ended up doing, I did that same midweek intense run, 9.5K, 57 minutes, and what I did was I ripped up a hill, and I think it was 12 times 20 seconds ripping up a hill, and then a 3-minute rest. Later that week, went back to the same hill because we really only have one hill in Winnipeg, and I did 19.2K in a 5:31 pace. The following week, this is a week where, full transparency, I did end up doing something different because I ended up racing Mark from GTN on Zwift in a duathlon. So I did a 2K run, a 15K bike, and a 2K run after. This is like the most similar to a 5K run that we ended up doing over the course of the week, but later in the week, same sort of thing. Went back, did a morning run. That was 15.5K, 5:37 pace. Fast forward to the very final week just recently. To end it off, I ended up doing this 9.3K 50-minute run at a 5:18 pace. And what I did, this was a final interval day. I did 6 times 4 minutes. So you can see that I did 20-second intervals, 1-minute intervals, 4-minute intervals. I intentionally went all over the place so that it wasn't this sequential build that was specifically improving my 5K. It was literally just going out and doing an intense run and a long run, faster paces, easier paces, but just do them on hills and see what happens. So with that said, now this week I have to go and do another 5K time trial. This is literally one of my least favorite things. The last time I did this, I was coughing up lactic acid until I went to bed. We suffer for this art. Okay, well, that is a 39-second improvement. That is a 3% improvement going from a 20-minute, 13-second 5K to a 19-minute, 34-second 5K. And that 19-minute, 34-second 5K, as far as I can tell, I think it's the second fastest recorded 5K that I've ever done. The other one being a 19:23, where I was actually getting paced by world beer mile champion Corey Gallagher on a dead flat track. So that 19:34 from today, where there's wind, where there's a little bit of elevation, where I'm not getting paced and it's just a solo effort, I would actually say is probably the best timed 5K that I've done. Now, I don't think that that's the best 5K shape that I've been in. Probably at my absolute fittest, I figured that I could go under 19 minutes. But at the time I was training for half Ironman and just didn't want to go and rip my legs off with a 5K. Now you might be saying, well, Taren, this is not at all scientifically significant. It's just you. It's uncontrolled. I'd agree, 100%. This is like just me doing 4 weeks of training. There are no controls. There's no control group. There's no big enough sample size for this to be statistically significant. But it's not nothing. 39 seconds, 3%. I remember about 7 years ago actually trying for a year to get my 5K run time under 20 minutes. And in this case, I did it in 4 weeks with one attempt. Now what's happening here and why we like to use hill running is because it's a way to translate strength training and bring the raw strength that you build in your strength sessions into actual running. So because there's extra load placed on the muscle, it's more of a strength focused run, which means that you're going to be a lot more stable, a lot more upright. You're going to transfer more power to going forward as opposed to leaking out the side. It's also a bit more of a muscular endurance kind of thing. So what I ended up experiencing between the first run and the second run is that the first run, I ended up feeling like holding that fast pace was really, really tough at like 2.7, 2.8K. In the case of what just happened now, I went sub 4 minutes for every single kilometer. I think I went 351, 352 or 53, 356, 359, 357. Whereas what happened in the first 5K run was I went something like same out of the gates, like 353, 356, but then over 4, over 4, over 4, and I was fading. And you might say, well, hey, Taren, you're just way more run fit. Why would I be way more run fit when I really haven't run any more or any differently and I'm just kind of in maintenance mode? The really only change that I did was hill running. So a couple of the principles that I'll impart here are, A, when you start hill running, make it very, very gradual. Just gradual slopes, maybe in your long runs, not really going and just all of a sudden saying, all right, I'm gonna go do a whole bunch of ripping intervals in the hill run. It's really tough on your body, and in those first couple of sessions that I did over the last 4 weeks, my ankles, my lower limbs, they had a lot of adapting to do, even though I still try to do hill running regularly. B, when you start including intervals, you want to start again very gradually, not absolute boom max efforts. We'll get to that, but you want to start with like a 1 minute gradual effort with lots of rest in between. After that, you can then add in those max 20-second efforts, or 8-second efforts is what we often do in our plan. Like really super high power stuff, and then try to translate that high power, high muscle recruitment kind of movement into your longer intervals. And then C, when you are doing long runs or just general runs and you're on trails and hills and soft surfaces, one of the main things that you need to focus on to make sure that you don't start getting dumpy and losing your top end quickness, that real quick ground contact time, is making sure that you focus on quick foot turnover while you are doing that long run. It's really, really easy to get into the habit of like slogging through them at a low cadence, which is then going to disallow you to transfer all of that additional power that you're building from hill intervals into long sustained running. You want to make sure that as you're getting tired, you're focusing on good foot turnover. So hill running does work. It's a really important part of a good triathlon, or even just run specific, or specific, like really, really specifically a swim run dedicated plan, because it is like strength training for running. We do low cadence work on the bike, we do snorkel band pull, maybe some paddle work in the swim, maybe some stretch cord work for the swim. We do hill running for the run to transfer all of that strength into the actual discipline. And if all that sounds just too complicated, you're like, oh, I still don't really get it. Well, we've got an app for that at app.mymotive.com, where all throughout the year, depending on what part of the season you're in, we indicate this run should be ideally on a hill run. This one should be on a light trail. This run should actually be done on a track or a road. And we give you guidance because there are certain times of the year that you want to do that, and putting it all together is quite difficult. So if you want to check that out, go to app.mymotive.com. And if you aren't already subscribed, hit the subscribe button below. Later, Trainiacs, I am going to go cough up lactic acid because I feel my molars just floating in it right now. Tastes like pennies.